The day my daughter graduated was supposed to be the proudest day of my life until my husband stood up in front of everyone and announced he was leaving me. But he didn't know. My revenge had already begun, and before long he'd be screaming for mercy. My name is Margaret Hill. I never imagined that the people I raised with my own hands, my son, his wife, and even my little grandson, would treat me worse than a stranger. For over 30 years, I worked my fingers to the bone. 2 jobs, early mornings, late nights, endless sacrifices, all for one purpose: to give Daniel, my only son, a life better than mine. And for years I watched him grow, excel and flourish. But somewhere along the line the respect disappeared, the gratitude vanished, and slowly the child I raised turned into someone I barely recognized. It started with small things: missing birthdays, ignoring phone calls, showing annoyance whenever I asked for help. But then came the crushing humiliation. It was a bright, sunny Saturday, the day of our daughter Olivia's high school graduation. I had spent weeks preparing, baking her favorite cake, ironing her gown, and pinning her corsage with trembling hands. I arrived early at the auditorium, filled with excitement and pride. And then it happened. Michael, my husband of 15 years, stood up in the middle of the audience. His face twisted in arrogance as he shouted, "I'm leaving. I can't do this anymore. I'm done." The crowd went silent. Olivia froze on stage, holding her diploma. I felt my heart shatter into 1,000 pieces. I tried to speak, but my voice caught. Michael turned to me and screamed, "Don't follow me. This is my choice." And then he walked out, leaving our daughter, our family, and me in the middle of the auditorium, humiliated in front of everyone. I wanted to collapse. I wanted to scream. But instead, I stayed silent, because silence, I realized, could be far deadlier than anger. For 3 days I barely ate. I barely slept. The humiliation burned inside me like a fire that refused to die. But then a thought crystallized. If he wants to destroy me publicly, then I will craft a revenge that destroys him completely. I began planning meticulously. I collected every shred of evidence I could: financial records, hidden bank accounts, emails to his mistress, and copies of the house deeds he assumed would be his someday. Michael had made 2 fatal mistakes. 1, underestimating me. 2, leaving a trail of evidence behind him. By the end of the week, I had my plan. It wasn't just about humiliation anymore. It was about destroying him legally, financially, and emotionally bit by bit. Michael thought he could control everything. He thought the house and our joint accounts were untouchable. He thought I was weak. I moved fast. I called a reputable real estate agent I trusted and sold our house without informing him. I transferred all funds to accounts only I could access. When Michael tried to brag about his security at work, I had already frozen any co-signed loans in his name. Every move he made financially was now traceable, documented, and ready for exploitation. I watched him flounder. He was unaware that every legal step I took would eventually hit him like a tsunami. The second step involved his mistress, Jenna. She didn't know he was married. She didn't know he had a daughter. She thought he was leaving me for her in secret. I let her find out. One day I called her. Calm, controlled, collected. I revealed Michael's duplicity, his lies, his secret child with her, and his plan to abandon us both. The shock in her eyes was deliciously satisfying. She was furious, terrified, and lost. She had trusted him blindly, and now I had shown her the truth. "You were never his priority," I said softly. "I am. Olivia is. And the consequences, they will all fall on him." Next came the perfect storm: public humiliation. I knew Michael thrived on appearing powerful, respected, and untouchable. So I orchestrated a legal confrontation with his company regarding fraudulent transfers he made under the guise of business expenses. I presented the evidence in court, calm and unwavering. Michael tried to deny, yell, and deflect, but the evidence was irrefutable. The judge saw it, the crowd saw it, and reporters were taking notes. "This is deliberate misconduct," the judge said. "You are liable for restitution and legal penalties." Michael was speechless. The man who had humiliated me in front of hundreds was now being dismantled publicly, piece by piece. The courtroom became the stage of his ultimate downfall. I presented every document, every transfer, every lie. The audience was captivated. Michael's reputation crumbled before everyone who once admired him. And then the final blow. "Mrs. Hill," the judge said, "you are granted full ownership of the marital home, inheritance rights, and primary custody of your daughter." Michael's face went pale. He finally realized the depth of his mistake. "You're taking everything!" he screamed. "No," I said quietly. "You threw everything away." After the courtroom battle, I didn't gloat. I didn't celebrate publicly. I moved into a peaceful apartment. I surrounded myself with friends, therapy, and work that fulfilled me. Olivia thrived. Jenna moved away. Michael's life shrank into bills, fines, and regret. And every night, I slept peacefully knowing that my revenge was complete. Revenge wasn't the screaming, the court, or the fines. Revenge was living a life he could never touch or ruin again. 1 year later, Olivia graduated with honors. She gave a speech about resilience, strength, and the woman who taught her to never settle for less. "And I want to thank my mother," she said. "She showed me that strength isn't about fighting with fists. It's about planning, patience, and knowing your worth." The crowd cheered. I held back tears. I realized that my revenge had come full circle, not with anger, but with power, dignity, and freedom. Michael tried to contact us once more, pleading, begging, and apologizing. I archived his messages, not deleted, not responding, archived, because closure wasn't owed to him. And revenge doesn't need recognition. It's in the life you rebuild without them. I smiled, looking at Olivia. My heart is full. My spirit is free. My past destroyed only the wrong person. And that was the sweetest revenge of all.